Blessings, fam.
What's going on, everybody?
Hi, everybody. It's me, Essence.
And Leonard, I'm back.
And we're here for another episode of Love and Honor. We are so happy that you joined us today. Hopefully your Monday or whatever day you're watching this is going amazing.
Yeah.
Full of blessings and favor and all that good stuff.
Because the blessing of the Lord maketh rich.
And addeth no sorrow.
Yeah.
So before we get started today, like, subscribe, comment, share.
One more. Turn on that notification bell.
Super active right now.
Who's super active? What you talking?
Okay. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about doing the hard things.
I love how you ask yourself the question.
Okay. What are we talking about today?
No. What are we talking about today?
Doing the hard things. Okay. So let me tell you where this came from. So, we're working on a lot of stuff right now. We have some stuff in the works, and we're trusting God for some things. And I'm like, man, there's some steps that I need to take. And I'm not feeling like moving forward in those steps. And it's not because I can't do it, but it's because it's something that that I don't usually do. It's outside of my comfort zone because I have to step outside of my comfort zone and talk to people and stuff. And I'm okay with talking to people, but it's in this particular area. And I just am not feeling like I just am a little scared, I guess. And I know God does not give us the spirit of fear, that's right? But I don't want to do it.
Yeah. It'd be like that sometimes, Sometimes, as you were talking, the people who are successful in life are the people who are comfortable with doing the hard things over and over.
Yeah.
Because you think about people who are successful, they have multiple streams of income, right? So they've started businesses over and over. I think that as you become comfortable with the uncomfortable, then you become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
That makes sense.
It's crazy, right?
No, it makes good sense. That makes sense.
You.
But it's just crazy because it's like, that you need to do this, but you don't want to do it. And what happens when you don't want to do something? Well, me anyway, I can speak for myself. You procrastinate. And I'm like, man. And then it's not until recently that I thought I do this. Not just this time. This is something that I do. I have so many things that I believe that God's told me to do. And then there comes a point in it where I feel like I don't know how to do that, or I might be afraid of the next step because it's something that I'm not comfortable with. And I've always thought I've been a person to move forward in those things. But that's why some of the stuff that I feel that God's called me to do hasn't been done is because I'm afraid.
I think it might be more damaging to want to do something and take steps and then stop.
Yeah.
To not start at all.
Well, no, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I'll take steps.
Get it together.
Okay, I need to. And then I'll be like, maybe I shouldn't, and talk myself out of it.
And then you wasted all that time, all that
money,
energy, all that effort.
Man.
I mean, you might as well just go ahead and do it. If we fail, then we fail.
But why would I care who do I care if I fail? For who other than me?
Well, because that means, and that's why I said that it's more damaging to start and stop, because if you do that and fail, you automatically fail when you stop, right?
Right.
But if you continue through it and then fail, quote unquote, at least you've done it and you learned.
You got wisdom from
exactly.
it.
The first part,
starting is bad.
That's what. Well, yeah. Well,
they're both bad.
You lose nothing, right? But if you start and don't finish, then you lose what you invested and you don't learn nothing.
I think both are bad, because not starting at all. So if God told you anything that you need to do and you haven't even started, I think it's equally not beneficial, because you are losing out on wisdom, and you're losing out on everything that you could have had that God had for you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you start and stop, you're still losing out on all that.
And the
investment wasted.
Right.
Energy and time.
So here's what she's saying. Start.
And
here's what I'm saying. If you start, finish.
Yeah. I need to practice finishing even when I'm afraid. So, okay, there's this podcast that I used to listen to more actively, and I've been looking for it, but I found it today. And it's called Skimmed from the Couch.
I never heard of this.
Well, it's a podcast, two women. What?
If it's two women, of course I'm not the target market. That's why I never heard of it.
Well, anyways, okay, so two women are the hosts of it. That's all I was going to say.
Whoa, I thought you said it was a podcast to women.
Well, it is, but that's not what I was saying.
See, that's why you should always listen to the whole thing before.
You're right. You started and committed, and then you stopped. You decided.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, okay.
Two women.
Okay, so there's two women, and I don't remember their names, but the name of the podcast is called Skimmed from the Couch, and they interview female CEOs, women CEOs, who have made it or at the top of their game, and they share like their journey and any advice that they have. It's like full of nuggets, like nuggets of wisdom. And so one day I was listening to it, and they were interviewing some CEO, don't remember, years ago, but it was still like really like it stuck with me. And the woman was like, yeah, and it was like an opportunity for her to move to the next level of something, but she was afraid. And she was like, she was having kids. She's like, I'm tired. And she said she was talking to her mom, and her mom was like, okay. And she was like, but I'm tired and I'm scared. And she's like, sometimes you have to do things scared. And she's like, and if you're tired, just do it tired.
Yeah.
So those aren't excuses for us to not move forward in the things that God's called us to, or in, areas of advancement or opportunity, or things that we feel that we've been called to do or should do or whatever. Fear is not a good enough reason. It's an excuse. Tired is not a good enough reason. It's an excuse. In business school, you learn about opportunity costs, which is what you give up to do something else. And so you taking a nap could be time that you invest in you being able to sleep in your future when you don't have to go into a regular 9 to 5 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like invest in it now. Yeah. And so I know, but I'm just saying, like, so how do you handle when those hard things come up? What do you do?
Which hard things? When
just in general. Yeah. Like just because then it causes procrastination, but there's things that get in the way of you pursuing your dreams or pursuing the things that God's called you to. Mm-hmm. So how do you handle that? Like, what do you do just in general? So even if you're a person who's like, oh, sometimes it gets you like off track, and then you're like, then what have you noticed causes you to do, not do or whatever?
Well, lately what I've been trying to do is set up part-time. Mm-hmm. Like if there's something I need to get done, I'll be like, look, right when I get to work, this is the first thing. It's the first thing I'm gonna do right when I get in. That way it's done, right? Opportunity cost. But yeah, so I mean, it's a set about time, and then just do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, simple as that.
Yeah, but sometimes people don't want to do it, and they listen to that, and that's why discipline is very important. And lack of discipline will really steal your dreams from you. Mm-hmm. And discipline is a practice. It's not something that, oh, you're disciplined, so now you're just disciplined forever. Like, it's a constant practice. And that's why you said people who are, what did you say in the beginning? Like,
people who are successful are people who are used to doing the uncomfortable.
Yeah. And sometimes, we work so hard to be comfortable in our lives that we are like doing ourselves a disservice to where we're no longer pursuing things because we're in a state of, you want to be content wherever you're at. However, like in whatever season you're in, whether you're pursuing something or not, or, like if you're in a waiting season or whatever, but you don't want to be in a place where you're trapped by comfort, comfort's trap of, it's good enough. You're comfortable. So don't try any harder. Don't do any more. Like, I feel like the enemy would love to use that for us to miss out on promises that God has for us, miss out on blessings that he has for us, miss out on us pursuing dreams and things that we desire to do because we're comfortable. Yeah. Because then when one of the things that I believe that will come up is fear in being outside of my comfort zone, and that's one of the things that I need to move forward in. And I don't want to move forward in it because it's uncomfortable. I don't want to hear the rejection that may come along with whatever it is, or, you know what I mean? It's because it makes me uncomfortable. And so I have to get outside of that and trust God. And we talk about that like every single week. Trust God and let that stuff go. Right.
Yeah. When you realize everybody who has done anything successfully has been rejected.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I mean, when you realize that, then it should kind of lessen the load or the fear of rejection. It's part of the game.
I mean, we've all been rejected.
They rejected Jesus.
And if they rejected Jesus, they're going to reject you. And
you hear what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
But to all the no's you get, you're going to get a yes.
I mean, but you hear that, but you still don't want to experience all that. Because people are mean.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, I don't be caring about, like, I care compassionately and empathetically care for people. But as far as like the drama and the negativity and all that kind of stuff, I'm just like, whatever. So to put myself in a place where I have to get, like when I was working, my 9 to 5, there was like, you just deal with it and it's like whatever is part of the job. But then for me to go out of my way to put myself in a place where I'm the one asking, I don't like asking in the first place, people to do anything or asking anything of anyone. I prefer not to if I don't have to, but like I'm good with conflict. I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, there's also another side to this coin, right? Because we all have our strengths and we all have our areas of improvement.
Opportunity.
And if there's something that we are required to do for success of whatever it is we're investing in, and we are not strong in that area, there's nothing wrong with outsourcing that.
You're right.
Nothing wrong with using resources.
I hear you. And, I thought of that because, someone in this group that I'm in was like, oh, you can always just pay somebody to do it. Yes. But I feel like this will not conquer me.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to, even if I have like somebody else, it is because even if I were to pay someone else, I feel that I need to do this anyway. Like I can still pay someone, but I still have to experience it and do it on my own. The problem is like, I'm not stepping out in faith, and it comes down to a trust in God thing, because it doesn't matter if someone tells you no or if someone's mean and rejects you. If God has put something in your heart or in your spirit, you should still do it anyway, regardless of a person saying no. Because after that, then okay, they said no. It's just like, I don't want to ask you of something, and then even if it'll be a benefit to you, you know what I mean? I think that is a growth thing, because I know better. I just don't want to do something that's uncomfortable. But I know, whether you're a Christ follower, whatever you believe, like you still have to do that, right?
I heard something a long time ago. I don't remember where I heard it, and to be honest with you, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's just a story. Bear with me.
Okay.
It was about a person, and they would wake up in the morning and take cold showers.
A lot of people, millionaires, like if you listen to people talk about the things that millionaires do, and beyond millionaires, like the wealthy do, they do things like that to make themselves uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot. Like there's The Millionaire Next Door. Like there's a lot of books that talk about that. So I believe that's.
So the Lord is telling you to go get a cold shower. No?
Is he telling me that, or he told you that? Because you're the one who got this revelation. But
I'm okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I can be. It's just you're putting yourself in the position to be uncomfortable, but it's to do something that I feel led, that I'd love to do.
Yeah.
That I feel like it's like something I've always wanted to do. You know what I mean? So I just need to do it. I need to let that go. But it's like one of the things that I've realized about myself during this time of unemployment, is that I am not motivated to do things. Like I have the motivation to fulfill the goal. The long-term goal, the big picture. I don't have the motivation to do the small things that I don't want to do or that are not comfortable to do or may not have the knowledge to move forward in. I feel uncomfortable with not knowing certain things without like having a resource or something to give me the answers. Or if I look it up and it's just like super like textbook and it's not like experience information, it's just like until you do it, right? Until I do it.
But it's no secret. We've always known that you're a visionary.
Yeah.
And I think that that's part of it, usually a visionary, utilizes resources, has a vision and utilizes resources to carry out that vision.
Right.
So that's no secret that, but it sounds like you want to be grassroots and build it up, and then you can start casting more vision. Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to be grassroots. I mean, I want to, but I do feel that there's a knowledge that comes along, like wisdom knowledge that comes along with the experience of doing certain things. And I really think that it's just needed. Like you hear people all the time talking about how like wealth is not built. It takes time. It's a process. And I believe that I don't need to bypass the process. If you can make something easier, by all means, handle that. But in this situation, I feel like because it's something that I'm afraid to do and it's something that I'm uncomfortable with, that's why I really need to do it. Yeah. And that's the essence thing. I believe maybe it's God put that on my heart, but it's something that I feel like I won't let it conquer me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let fear win. Fear has no victory in our lives. It's not going to.
That's right.
And so I believe that when we don't move forward in something that God's called us to do, or something that, like, we feel placed within us as a strong desire from him, hopefully that's where your desires are coming from. Yeah. But when we have something that he's given us or blessed us with to pursue, and we're not doing it because of fear, I feel like the enemy is playing a part in that. And I don't want him to ever have victory over anything in this life that God has for me. I want everything God has for me. I want every blessing. I want to be able to bless other people. And if I'm allowing fear to hinder me in any kind of way, then I know that I'm not going to walk in the fullness of everything that God has for me and my family. So fear's not going to win here.
Yeah, no, I fully agree.
But it delays progress.
Fear?
Fear. It like delays progress. And like, think about, so our son we call him very cautious. There's a lot of things that he's afraid to do. And we just say he's very cautious. He's like really thinking about, like, what is that? What's going on over here and stuff. And
because we refuse to put negative labels over our children.
Right.
Message.
Yeah. So, with that, when you're afraid, sometimes it causes, and I'm saying this because it'll be something like he's super cautious, say he hears loud noise and it scares him, like outside, the vehicle's extremely loud or something, and it catches him off guard. He'll just run. Like, how it is with some people of color, how we'll just see a person running, we'll just run. But being afraid and acting in that fear will cause you to possibly get hurt. It can cause you to make decisions that are not good for you. Bad decisions, etc. And so we notice that, like, he'll hear something crazy or, that just catches him off guard. Yeah. He'll run or and he could hurt himself. He'll like run it. He doesn't do it, but like, we'll catch him and be like, hey, you got to take your time and look around and see what it is. What is that, that's catching you off guard?
Yeah. Fear make you move different.
It makes you move different. Yeah. And I don't want to be a person who operates in fear, because then fear will lead you and guide you and, take you out of purpose.
Yeah. I recall a time where me and Anna were getting in the car, and I was opening the door for him and there was a loud noise. And because he got startled, he repositioned himself and he was out of position. So I wasn't able to get him to the car because he wasn't in the spot he was supposed to be in. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's how God is sometimes when it comes to fear in our lives. We get startled and we move to some place God never told us to be, and we miss the open door because of it.
Yeah. And the prayer that we've been having is, Lord, open the doors that are for us and close the ones that aren't. And we just need to trust you. And we're going to walk through those doors that are for us. And if we are allowing fear to hinder anything, because this is a part of something that's needed, like to get to the next step of what I want to do. And if I allow fear I won't be doing it. I don't I believe that this is something that I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So just because you didn't walk in the open door doesn't mean God didn't open it, because fear can keep you out of that open door.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we be praying, right? And we ask God to open his doors, and he's opened them, but we're just too afraid to walk inside of them. Yeah. So we pray for more doors, and then we end up in his permissive will, not his perfect will.
And what does that mean for people who don't understand?
It means that we end up in a place where he will allow us to be in, as opposed to a place where he purposed for us to be in.
Right. And I believe that if we're walking in purpose and we're operating in purpose, it's going to be more grand, more greater, more of a blessing to yourself and to others than you being in a place that he's just allowing to happen. Mm-hmm. Why? Because God is a God who is all knowing. He knows the best route for us to take. He knows the best places for us to be. He knows the best position, the best doors for us to enter into. And when we are not allowing him to be the God that he is and bless us the way that he wants to bless us, then we're causing issues like in our own life. We're making things harder in our own life, So.
And so don't be afraid.
I feel like it's easy to say don't be afraid, but I think that it just is inevitable at times. Like, we can pray and say, God, take away this fear. But I do believe this is one of the things where we have to step out in faith and let God have his way and take that fear away. Mm-hmm. So that means that we have to do it afraid.
Yeah, understand. If fear visits, just don't let it live there.
That's right.
Get up out of here.
Don't let it live there. But how do you get rid of fear? By praying to God and doing. Yeah. Because I think once I have experience in this particular area, once I'm moving forward in it, once I already have dealt with people with the rejection and the, whatever it is, then I will be more comfortable in it because now I have experience in it and I know what to expect, even though I feel like I know what to expect. But it's just, okay, when you experience something or before you experience something, I feel like there's this like fear or something that comes along with it, like the fear of the unknown, because it could be something that's not good. Like it could be bad or considered bad. And then once you're in it and go through it, you're like, oh,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the midst of expecting, like the expectation is the part that's the scary part for some reason, because you don't know what it holds.
Yeah. Yeah. Fear isn't real.
Yeah,
like it's a thought, right?
It's the thought of all these things that could possibly go wrong that may never go wrong. Or they could.
Yeah. So because fear isn't real, I may have said it wrong when I said just do it in fear or whatever I said.
I said that. Do it afraid. Just because sometimes you have to. Well, regardless of how you feel.
Yeah, but what it actually is overcoming that fear. Because because fear isn't real, because it's just a thought. So if you overcome it by feeling, if you overcome it by doing, then the illusion of fear is gone.
But feelings are real, but they will mess you up. Like they'll mislead you and misguide you. So yeah, that's interesting.
It is.
So don't be afraid. But if you are afraid, do it anyway.
Yeah. That's another shirt.
Okay.
That's a lot of words though, for sure.
That's okay. Readers are leaders.
That's true.
But yeah, so don't be like how I was. But I mean, I think it's good to recognize the things that we need to improve on.
Absolutely.
Like if there's something that is hindering you from moving forward or reaching a goal, or, God's placed something in your heart or inside of you, or a desire or whatever, and you're not doing it for whatever reason, like it's important to identify what that reason is and conquer that. You know what I mean? Like we are more than conquerors. God gives us power and authority, and we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength. And so we have to utilize our resources. Don't be afraid to ask. God is not.
Go that word again.
What?
Afraid.
Don't be afraid to ask. Ask God whatever you need. There's nothing too small. There's nothing too big. God will touch the hearts of the individuals that I have to reach out to. He will,
words your mouth.
He will give me the words to speak, and I will ask him, and I believe him, and I trust him, and I know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But I mean, I'm not the first person who has done this, and there's I just need to trust him.
Yeah, everybody who has done it has done it.
Right.
Like what we were watching the other day, me and Essence were finishing up some business plan stuff, and we were watching something the other day, and it was a Nike Jordan or something like that. That one TV show.
Air, that movie Air,
yeah.
The Jordan movie. Like it's like the Nike story, but Jordan was like an extra in this movie because it was really about the story of Nike and how they signed him and became.
Yeah, but I bring it up to say that while we were watching it, I looked at Essence. I said, Essence, at one point, they had to start off the same way we're starting off right now. They had to get together and put their business plan together. And now look at them.
Like every company, every corporation, everything that's big has started. Keep that thought. I'm sure he didn't want to.
Jordan's mom's house and ask her for the business, but he did it scared.
You're right, because spoiler alert.
Hope you've seen it.
Well, if you didn't, it was really good. But that was one of the things too. He was afraid, and he was contemplating. He was asking his friends, and they were like, "You're not supposed to do that." And he was like, "But I'm doing it. I guess." He did it anyway.
He was his friends, right?
But his friend had his back though.
But that's the thing, though. When you're trying to be successful and you're afraid, you need to be around people who are going to speak life into you.
Yeah.
People who aren't going to try to talk you out of doing that. Now, hear me this, hear me this,
Hear me this.
hear me this. Make sure that you're hearing from God,
Right.
because there is such thing as wise counsel, and there's some people who might have some insight. But if you heard God, no matter who's around you,
regardless of how wise their counsel seems,
God's counsel's wiser.
It's always the wisest.
My words are coming out this way right now.
It's okay. It makes sense.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah,
wisest counsels.
There you go again.
You talk, Essence.
No, but you're right though. Like you have to listen to your wise counsel, and if God told you, then He's the wise counsel, because everybody doesn't always understand the assignment that God's giving you, because He hasn't given it to them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes God will give the confirmation to someone else, and they'll share it with you. Mm-hmm. But there's plenty of times that God will tell you and confirm it with you, and you're still questioning, and other people are coming and they're being discouraging and not in alignment with God's will. Mm-hmm. And that's like one of those, it reminds me of when Jesus told Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan," because the things that he was saying, even though he believed that the words that he was saying were encouraging to Jesus, it wasn't a part of God's plan. And so he was like, "Get thee behind me, Satan," you mm-hmm. know? And I think that people have good intentions, but they'll good intent you all the way to hell, or they'll good intent you all the way to outside of the promises that God has for you. So we have to make sure that we are in alignment with God's will. Yeah. And if God told you to do something, regardless of fear, that's not a reason for you not to. I'm talking to myself right now, to be real with you, because when you stand before the Lord and it's time to pass judgment, He's not going to be like, "Oh, you can't be like, oh Lord, but you told me to," but I was scared. Because mm-hmm. look how that worked out for the servant with one talent when he was before the master.
I knew you were a harsh man.
I knew you were a harsh man. He's talking in fear right there, mm-hmm. and laziness, procrastination. He was like, "I buried what you gave me in the ground because I didn't want to lose it." He was afraid that he could lose it, trying to invest. Yeah. And he got sent to hell because he was lazy. "Depart from me, you worker of iniquity, for I never knew you."
Fear will separate you from God.
Fear will separate you from God. And it's not you being afraid. It's you not taking actions or moving forward, being hindered by fear.
Falling victim to fear.
Because you are afraid. Mm-hmm. You can still do anything that God's called you to do afraid. He has equipped us and is with us if we desire to move forward, if we move forward, if we trust Him. We're like, "Look, you're God. You got me. Because I don't got me, but mm-hmm. you do. So let me step out in faith and believe that you are who you say you are. And I trust you and you are my Lord." But then when we allow fear to be our Lord, and we allow fear to cause us to miss out on blessings, we can't be over here like Boo Boo the Fool, mm-hmm. trying to figure out like, why can't I? Because those are the questions we have. We're like, why am I not further along in life? Mm-hmm. Why am I not?
They started after me and look at them.
Oh, then you're a hater because you're over here lost in fear, mm-hmm. So
you did it to yourself.
You did it to yourself.
We did it to ourselves.
No, we did it.
We've done it.
We've done it, but we're not done in it anymore. It's done.
You gotta talk like me now?
Yes. No, it's done.
You were here speaking in parables.
Sometimes people need parables so they can understand. The word is hidden in parables. No. But seriously though, that's done. Nobody's perfect. That's why we need Jesus, right? Because we're not perfect. But God, the reason why He tells us and instructs us about fear is because it's a real thing. Mm-hmm. And when we're living a life that we want to surrender to God, surrendering, I've never heard of just surrender as it's just something. It can be easy. But people don't usually want to surrender. Yeah. It's like a wheel, like it's the opposite of what you probably would want to do. Mm-hmm. And so when you're afraid, you don't want to do whatever it is that's causing you or bringing on fear. Or maybe you do, but you're scared. Yeah. So it's just, "Hey, God, I'm giving it to you."
Yeah. Surrender your fear.
It's yours. I don't want it.
Yeah.
You could have it, Lord. So if you're watching this and you're afraid and you're not moving forward in something because you're scared, you can't do that. Like, you can't allow fear to dictate your moves. Mm-hmm. That's not how you win. And you're a winner. Yeah. I'm a winner. You're a winner, boo. Yeah. You are a winner. And if you are allowing fear to lead you and guide you, you're not winning, but you're a winner. Therefore, you have to push fear aside and win, walk in victory.
It makes me think of the angels whenever they came down to talk to somebody and they're going to have them, and God was going to have to do something very difficult. For instance, Mary and Joseph, the angel will come and say, "Fear not." Right? Because he was giving them that comfort, like, hey, you're about to go through something and it's going to be challenging, but you don't have to be afraid.
And also, I think like when you're at home and you're sleeping in your bed or something, and then like a random figure comes and it's not.
You be scared?
Yeah. Well, I think back in the day I was, but then over time when I realized the power and authority that we got through God, nah. But yeah, I think, you're like, hey, what's going on here? Who are you? What you doing in my home? Maybe they were fearful. And he was like, fear not. So, that
I like my way.
I do, but I'm thinking like, I'm just thinking about like, if you're at home and somebody's all of a sudden in your home and you're like, who are you? That's afraid. I would be afraid too, probably, like, hey, bleeding the blood of Jesus and stuff. But yeah, keep on. I'm sorry.
No, that was it.
Okay, yeah. But it just made me think of that. But either way, it was fear, because they could have been so afraid to where they didn't listen to what the angel said to them. And then they could have been so afraid because of what people thought. And it affected their outcome. Don't let people have you miss out on a blessing because you're afraid of what they'll say or what they'll think. Like me, in this situation where I have to go to people and there is rejection involved, and there will be rejection. I know it's going to happen, and that's okay, because who are they? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if God told me to do it, if God is like, this is how you're building your family's legacy,
do it.
Is what it is, right?
Yep.
But yeah, so if you're sitting out there and you're afraid and you're living in fear, or there's something that you desire to do, but you have all these excuses, take a step back. Let's go back around. And then let's pray, like, let's trust God together. Let's believe God together. Let's work on the things that he's blessed us to work on together. Let's encourage each other. Let's pray for one another. If you don't have people around you who've got your back and who will pray for you and who will encourage you, or who you can talk to about those things that you are afraid of, if you feel that you can't talk to the people that are closest to you about things that you're afraid of, you should probably pray and reevaluate those relationships. Because I am blessed to be able to talk to my husband about anything, and be able to talk to the people that I consider my close friends and family and tell them my fears without judgment. Like, I am entitled to feel however I feel. God made me, and
as he knows you.
Exactly. And he knows the things that we're dealing with. So it's just another opportunity when we're in these places where we feel like crippled with fear. It's another opportunity for us to give it to God and grow our relationship with him and let him show us, like, okay, you're afraid. So step out in faith anyway, because you know who I am, and you know that I'm faithful, and you know that I always come through, and lean on my expertise, not yours. You can be afraid, but you're not doing this in your will. You're doing it in mine. So therefore, when you're stepping out in faith and doing this, like, the fear will go away. It's going to be there at first. And let me tell you something, even anytime that I've done like speaking engagements or anything, or spoke at like a conference or anything, I've been afraid, or I don't know if it's fear, because I really enjoy it, but it's like this something within me. It's like an anxiousness. But
because you're taking it very seriously. Yeah,
but it's God. It's not even me. So then I do remind myself, like, hey, Essence, you're just going to share whatever God gave you, and that's all you got. And if people don't like it, then they're going to have to take that up with you being used by God, not, because that's not you. So yeah. So we got to kick fear in the head and the neck, and just we got to give it to God. We need to surrender fear to him, right?
Let it go.
Let it go. I thought of that Frozen movie that I still have never seen.
No, I didn't see it.
Who'd you see it with?
Myself on Disney Plus.
You watched it by yourself?
Well, probably Hunter was with me, but Paris, one of them.
Probably Paris.
Yeah, one of them.
Our niece. Probably.
I feel like I watched the whole thing.
You were probably the only one watching it.
Probably. It was good.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when you said letting go. It's about letting go. Oh, I heard that.
See?
I don't even know their names.
Spoiler alert.
What'd you say?
Spoiler alert.
Oh, I thought you added no extra oil. Spoiler oil alert.
The oil, be flowing,
Okay. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. The moral of the story is push fear aside, surrender it to God, and you still got to do whatever it is. So if God called you to do it, if you have a desire, a vision, a plan, if you drop something in your spirit, if he's called you to something, but you're afraid or you're procrastinating because of fear, surrender that fear to him and do it anyway. Sometimes you have to do things afraid. Sometimes you have to do those things when you're tired. We cannot allow excuses to hinder us from moving forward in what God's called us to. So I'm taking that message for me, and I hope it's been a blessing to you. You guys have a wonderfully blessed week. Anything to add, Boo?
That's it.
Blessings. All right. Blessings. You guys stay blessed. Take care.